Greetings, salutations. Guess what? How your mom and them? Hey, you sons of bitches, we're back. Well, three of us anyways. I think Ralls is still probably chasing hay bales around the field or something. But welcome to Far Reaches Podcast. We are back reaching out to all those reachers out there. Thank you very much for your patience. I was a little under the weather in the middle of a hurricane last weekend, so unable to join the gang for what was a really good, I think, and spirited podcast. As you can see from the background, I have relocated to the southernmost portion of the United States. If I move any further, I will be on an island. So, again, thank you, everybody, for joining us. Once again, you can find us on all your podcast outlets, be it Spotify, be it iHeartRadio, be it the old-fashioned Apple iTunes, if you're really going to kick it old school. Also, on our YouTube channel, so please make sure to go there, like, and subscribe. That means that little bell, so you get notifications when one of these gems comes out so you don't miss it. Also, make sure it's easy to share that way. So, with that, all that ruckus and tuckus, we will kick off. Like I said, Ralls is probably chasing bales. This is hay season, so it's hard to say when he's going to show up. He might iPad us from his harrow bed. He was hauling hay earlier today. But myself, Mr. Joel, Richard are glad to be here joining you. So we will start with our weekly update. Joel, you look a little fidgety. Why don't you go first?
I don't know if I'm fidgety, but yeah, I had a pretty good week. I had the house to myself for Wednesday through Sunday, so that was nice.
It looks like it's still there too. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't spend too much time here. I've been doing a lot of golfing still.
Outstanding.
I've heard rumors flying around. Somehow I got back to Greg that he was calling me out saying I was lying about shooting a 90.
Yeah, I told him. Yeah. There's no rumors or anything else. I told him.
Yeah, I went golfing with Darren and Kurt, and I think this day I was with Cal. And
yeah.
Shot a 39 on the front.
Outstanding.
Yeah, and then on the back, though, I kind of reverted to worse than I've been lately, and I shot a 52 on the back. But
it happens. It's still a pretty decent round.
Just putting two good rounds together, front and back, would be before I leave here, I want to be in the low 80s. I want to get a low 80s
I think
round.
that's feasible. Yeah. That was actually when I talked to JR about it. I was like, hey, congratulations. Sounds like Mr. Joel's taking the golf, and I've been shooting in the 90s. And he's like, huh? So, yeah, it wasn't like I was being mischievous and, like, stirring the pot. I was just like, hey, glad to see Mr. Joel's out there tearing it up. So, yeah, well done, sir. Yeah.
Well, I found I play better when I'm not playing with him, and I think it's because he damages my confidence when I'm out there playing with him. He's always criticizing me.
Oh, we just tell him to go pound sand.
Go kick
I try to. It's difficult because I can't ignore his game. The boy's got. He can still hit a stick. So you can't try to outdrive him. You can't try to outchip him. You have to play your own game and realize that he's like a +2. So he's gonna be better. Yeah.
Well, I outdrive him sometimes.
Yeah, every once in a while. I mean,
yeah, you get lucky, I guess.
We all have better shots occasionally. That's why you keep coming back because you're like, how the hell did I do that? Yeah. So.
But yeah, it's been fun. I've been doing that, and then getting a little bit of swim time in, or lounging in the pool anyway. Not swimming exactly, but
yeah, I bet you're doing laps. Please God, don't wear a Speedo either. But yeah,
so are you gonna get a country club membership at the Manhattan Golf Club or the Central Park Go?
Yeah, you're gonna kick it up a notch. You gonna call Trump? It's like, what's up, homeschool? You got a spot for me?
Yeah, I'm saving up $100,000 for an initiation fee, and then
perfect. Yeah,
and then I'm in.
And those pesky assessments are going to come along every once in a while. We got to redo the pool. Everybody's spending $250,000. Thank you so much. Oh, awesome.
Join a club like that with my $500 golf clubs. Doesn't really add up.
I wouldn't join a club that would have me as a member. God dang it. Yeah. And there's still people there you could whoop their ass with your $500 clubs too. Guarantee you. Yeah.
Especially in New York.
You should go down to Central Park and get on the outside of the golf club and then hit your balls into the golf course. That's what I do for fun.
You can make up your own. Yeah.
I've seen people chipping in Central Park before. I wonder.
Well,
Maybe
why
I'll
not?
start
Yeah.
doing that. I don't. Yeah, I don't see.
Well,
why
they
you
actually
couldn't
make
do that.
like kind of like almost like ping pong golf balls too for practice out in the yard where you can take a pretty good swing, but they don't go like a block, So
Yeah.
those are handy too. Switch those out with Big Daddy's regular golf balls. That's quite entertaining.
I haven't seen them for years, but I remember when I was little, a big funny prank was they made these golf balls that explode when you hit them.
Exploded. Yeah.
I haven't seen those for a long time though.
We tried to sneak one in on Big Daddy one day, but we were just laughing too much, and he was getting unnerved, because he's pretty meticulous. And so to get him to look away so you could place it down, because they feel different, so you couldn't like put it in his bag. You'd have to like mix it up on the tee or something. So yeah, we tried to pull it off. We just laughed too much. So it happens. There's got to be other ways. So yeah. Richard, what's happening?
Oh, we're had a big fire just outside of town.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of my old stomping ground. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's not out yet, but they thought they had it this morning when I talked to them this morning. Keep calling. I was like, you need me to come out and help? And I don't think I'm that much help, so they say no. So anyways, but
that's the thought. Yeah.
But like in my past life, I just waited at camp for everybody to come back, so I'm used to it. So
you guys must be tired. That was a long day. Yeah.
Here's some food.
Oh, I used to stomp around up on that mountain. There's actually a place called Cook's Flat that was belonged to my great-great-grandfather. And that was one of the shortcuts. If you're fiddle farting up Kelly Creek and you can shoot across to go to Lakeview and all back roads, you'd go wind up there. So, yeah, a couple hours, but it's been a long time. So,
and then got the ranch, the Greater MC Ranch, all hooked up on a great hunting service called Land Trusts. So it's super exciting. So
outstanding.
The Airbnb of hunting. I'm hoping that it's as revolutionary as it seems to be. So look forward to meeting all sorts of.
Well, really, I think it's. Well, yeah, great. And there's not a whole lot of input on your part, really, is it? You just sort of like make it available and booking it, and they kind of handle it. So it's not like you put up a huge investment, really, is what I'm saying, to get this opportunity.
Yeah, and I'm
besides the ranch.
Nick's not listening to this because they still have to furnish the house that I've listed. But
oh, that's not a problem. Do like we did in college. A couple cinder blocks, wooden board for a shelf, milk crates. An old skanky recliner you find in the alleyway. Perfect. I think it's a hit. Yeah.
No, I'm hopeful for it. I think it's a good model, like Airbnb, just with the camouflage hunting boots, hunting dog. Yeah.
So, do you have to hunt?
So it'll be mostly.
Can you just stay there?
We made
they kick you out in the morning. Yeah.
Making parts of the ranch accessible, and then housing. One of the big things when they started this thing was a lot of the properties didn't have housing tied to them, and then they start finding that the properties with housing tied to them were more appealing to hunters that traveled that far to do it. So tried to put together a real complete package. We had some guides in the valley already, so we like to get along, so we're trying not to step on too many toes, but just how it goes.
Hey, if you got better boots, you're going to stomp on some toes. Sorry.
And in the long run, I think that this has the potential of paying more than what an average individual guide could ever pay. So, but we can probably make a good world for everybody, and everybody can get a little piece. And there's plenty of space out there, so we're good with there.
So, welcome to the Kumbaya Ranch, where all is well.
Yeah, that's often how they refer to the MC group. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's what I thought. Yeah, that's.
We just had a wonderful conversation in the store about all the giant blowups of what happened over the last 20 years. It was fun to recollect and look at.
A nice little trip down memory lane, huh?
Well, collaboration is not always fun. So.
No, but surviving it is. That's the important part. Yeah. So, especially when you can look back over some of the greatest hits, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
Boy, good ball.
But and then talked about this last week, but I got my roundup tickets, so that's super exciting.
Oh, L-Town Roundup. Nice move there. Yeah.
Yes.
You got them like physical, or are they like printable, or?
I got the
Roll that.
kind. So I'm impressed with Lakeview from going to digital tickets from analog tickets. And I mean, it was just last year we started so we could pay for the tickets with a credit card. And now we're online, and there is no ticket. So it's been a big transition for Lakeview to get into the digital age, and it took the rodeo to do it.
If anything could do it, it would be the Roundup. Yes.
Or tell a great round to screw herself. So.
Well, that's extra motivation. Yeah, absolutely right.
When is that rodeo again? End of August?
Labor Day weekend, baby.
Nice.
Yeah. It's worth going down to, Mr. Joel. It's quite entertaining.
Well,
Go to dry camp. Dry camp's fun.
I think I would go there this year, but I'm planning to go back to New York next week. So.
Oh, well then that would be a lot of back and forth. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, since you're talking about that Airbnb thing, thought I'd put this out there for the listeners. So one of my buddies from New York, well, he grew up in Oregon, but he's lived in New York with me for the last 7 or 8 years. He got a job in Pendleton. So he's moving to Pendleton next month. And so if anybody knows of a rental, he's looking for a place to live. So preferably on the North Hill. If anybody knows anything, let us know.
Just from being in
check with what's that, Richard?
Just from being in our real estate office, that is like there's so many people from urban areas moving to rural areas. Like we have a I think our waiting list is well over 50 people to get the rentals that we manage.
Yeah.
And
people are realizing they don't have to live in the city to have a city job.
I just looked on the MLS, and overnight 6 houses went from for sale to pending. Overnight. It is crazy.
Oh, wow.
The people that are exiting urban areas to get to rural areas. And like
I didn't think people would be coming out to this part of the country though.
I think it's a lot of places. It's the same things going on here. I've been kind of looking around for houses as I'm getting settled and finding places I might like, and sure shit, almost 10 out of 10 times so far, I'm like, this is a sweet place. I need to schedule a tour. It's pending. Yeah, so I'm like really solid in my taste, I suppose. But, I got a good taste in the places that are going. But there are people getting the hell out of Dodge because they don't have to be there anymore. Like, screw your stupid taxes, screw your stupid rent, your traffic, and as long as I got internet, which is a challenge in this part of the world, I'll do my job. Yeah, so.
Right now would be a terrible time to own a piece of, like, a rental, especially in, like, the city. I keep seeing, like, all the statistics about how many people just aren't paying their rent. They don't have any money, and they can't be evicted. I think like something like 60% of people don't pay their rent or something like that. Yeah,
that's a vicious circle. I think it's different on Airbnb, I think, because you're paying up front and you can use credit card for that. But like, conventional landlord situation, it's difficult when people don't have any money. And that just trickles up pretty quick. Like, if your folks aren't paying, then most likely you're not making the house payments. Or at least after a while, you're probably not. And then the bank comes to take it, and what are they going to do? I don't know. That's a cluster right there. That's we got to turn this sumbitch on. Yeah. So
I think after we turn it on, it's going to take a while to get going again.
Well, yeah, but every second you don't turn on the oven is how much longer it takes for you can have a fucking baked potato. Yeah. So turn it on. Yeah. Just saying.
I was thinking about, so when things start opening up, all these businesses that were pretty successful before COVID are going to go out of business and shut down. Would it be as easy as like just picking one of those that was successful? If you want to start a business, pick one of those. Basically do the same thing they did.
Well, if you figured out why it went tits up, yeah.
Well, it's been tits
I
up
mean-
because they shut down the economy, right?
Yeah, but how to keep that happening next time? Because God knows what we've set a precedent now that we can never go back from about mass assholishness, and so it's something to keep in mind. How to make it so it's something that's not impacted by that.
Yeah.
But certainly, Joel, that's opportunity. Opportunity always abounds. I mean, Richard just had an example about Lake County Roundup, like all online and spread out and doing their thing. Just they're like, screw you, we're gonna find a way to make this work, and they did. And there's a lot of businesses doing that. So that's like Richard brought that up like way long ago when we're all kind of like pissing and moaning. It's like, hey, it's gonna suck, but we're gonna come out of this better in some ways because we're gonna be forced to adapt and change. And I've never forgot that, even though I'm griping some days about this or that. No matter what, it's going to come out better in some ways. So just might take a while. But now is certainly the time to be looking at those opportunities. Franchises or businesses that are going to thrive when there's people again. Absolutely. Yeah. So, my weekly updates. I had a chance at my landlord's estate I'm at. Part of my rent, I guess I'll say, is I help around the ranch whenever I can. And so we worked cows early in the week, and first real experience with Brahman cross cattle. So let me just tell you, they got way better eyesight than most I've ever been around. It's a whole different way of like flight zones and everything. So that was really cool. He was very patient with me. I didn't get ran over. Got it figured out fairly quickly. The state extension vet was out. He's from Brazil, and a few vet students. And it was pretty hot, and we're drinking water like maniacs. And he's like, I need to take a break. And the sumbitch almost passed out because he was wearing the wrong coveralls. It was just sweating like a whore in church. And so I'm like, I don't feel so bad, getting a little thirsty because I just came from Nebraska like 3 weeks ago. So, but it's just it was a great experience. We're pregnant and giving some vaccinations and some other stuff. So to see some of the vet students and interact with them, they were third year. Some of them knew what was going on. Some did not, but they were always asking questions about why we were doing something and more importantly, how. Some of them learned how to run a squeeze chute, which I thought was interesting, but they asked, so that was really cool. So it's great to meet the vet, cool Brazilian guy, been all over the place. Really cool to see those Brahman cross cattle, and they are definitely more attuned to predators and their surroundings, like 150 yards away, fucking heads up, looking like they know. But if you're used to working around them and they know your voice and you call them a lot, you got to talk to them all the time. It was pretty cool. So I got that good chance. Nobody died, and we all learned a lot. So that was one of the high points of last week. So,
Like working velociraptors.
that's probably the best description I could have came up with. Yeah, absolutely.
Are you in cracker cowboy country?
Yes, sir.
I don't want to say cracker
Yes, sir.
because that would be confusing, especially.
No, actually,
but the cracker.
that's sort of like even houses around here. It's cracker style house.
Yeah.
But there's some cool places south of Gainesville, like Micanopy and places like that. I was down there a few weeks ago. We were delivering some calves, and I'm like, some bitch, this is like what I could picture as old school Florida cracker cowboy county. So it's pretty cool.
What's a cracker cowboy?
It's an old term for somebody from Florida country. Cracker was, some say it's about cracking the whip and that sort of thing. And it's just a slang term for white folk too, but also more specifically just Florida cowboys. So it's
I never heard that. So they have like their houses have a unique style to them or what?
Yeah, they're sort of like it's almost like a barn in nature. Usually just one sloped roof with a tin roof, usually open on the inside and like a front porch. They're really cool. They make some really snazzy like upper end, but it actually says in the listing like cracker style. So it's taken on an architectural flair. But there's Spanish moss on the trees and lots of lakes and low spots, weird grass. Bahia is a new grass I've learned about. So just a different ecosystem. And
You seeing any gators around there?
I saw gator, but it was a long ways away. I haven't had any one-on-one contact, but I've seen several sinkholes, which are interesting. Yeah.
Well, and
and a lot of other random stuff.
Just to your west, in that little where the panhandle comes in,
Mm-hmm.
you're sort of down, and if you drove like directly west, you'd be sort of where the panhandle starts going south.
A little further south, but not too much for that.
Like that's the first pod of manatees is right there. So you're like
okay.
manatees too. Which the whole time I was down in Florida during the hurricane, I never went and saw a manatee, and I was such a hurry to get out of there after a month that I passed on that. But I want to see a manatee.
Oh yeah. So like basically due west of me is like Steinahachie, and then Horseshoe Beach is south of that, and then Lower Swanee. The Suwannee River is to my west.
That river mouth is where they hang out.
Okay, cool. I'm going to go down there next weekend, I think. I'm going to go check out Cedar Key. Cedar Key is like 3 miles off the coast. A little community, like 700 people. So.
Oh, wow.
But it's sort of like an hour drive to my office from there. So I'm like, I might go get some real Florida interaction. Yeah. So. Yeah, still a lot to explore, but learning a lot already.
Just to go back to the crackers, when I was in Russia, I worked with a guy that cowboy in Florida quite a bit, and he brought his cracker bullwhip with him to Russia to impress the
cool.
Russians. So it is a predominant piece of equipment those hands in Florida use.
Yeah. There's also
I didn't realize there was
I
didn't realize there was a cattle ranch culture out there at all.
I think it's the third largest producer of cattle in the United States.
Mm-hmm. It's battled back and forth at times between California and Texas. Yeah. Lots of cows. A really cool history. I have a book even on my desk about the Florida Cowboys right here in my little hacienda. There's still some places where they used to bring them in on ships from Cuba. Yeah. So
oddly
cool
enough,
stuff.
Mormon Deseret Ranch has a big hold down there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's substantial. Just a couple hours south of here. Yeah, I've been there, and then there's a family called the Kempfers, who are just south of them, which makes some amazing cattle. George and Henry, I got to meet them a couple years ago, and some of their genetics are in my buddy's herd right now. So they're amazing cattle too. Yeah,
lowest input.
It's really cool.
Of probably any cattle herd in the United States. What it costs to raise a cow in Florida is probably 30-40% cheaper than what it costs to raise a cow anywhere else in the United States.
Easily, yeah. And that's even so up north here we're a little harsher, but as farther you go south, it's even better than it is anywhere else. And I just that blows my mind because like my buddy's got a rotation going on in his pastures, and like so we had some milo and some bahia grass and some other stuff in this pasture when I first got here, and they'd mowed it off pretty good. It was probably 65-70% utilization, which they were going for. Put them in another pasture, and like we were there a couple days ago, and that the Milo's 3 foot tall now, and the Bahia's going crazy, and so they're going to go back in there, and so it's weird because you mow it down after you put them in a place too, then you come in and you bush hog it sometimes to get it all started over again. And then coffee weeds, like a coffee bean plant that's like a weed. So learning all the different weeds and such too. But like we light fires pretty much every day. Yeah.
Not only are they like velociraptors, they're velociraptors on caffeine.
Yes. Indeed. Yes. So that explains the extra alertness. Yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah. Very, very aware, smart, interesting cattle. Yeah, it's been fun to work with them. But yeah, we have big old brush piles everywhere, and like you just drive by and light them on fire and keep going. Like you don't have to worry about burning season because like it freaking rains every afternoon, So
20 minutes, it hasn't rained yet.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'm really shocked it hasn't been. It was pouring down this afternoon. I had a video call for work, and like I had like my hands like shoving my headphones in my ears because it's so loud. on my tin roof, it sounds like 1,000 ants are flying over the top of your head. It's crazy. So, anyways,
I have
yeah,
one last
that's
question about Florida.
yeah, absolutely. This is our time, boys. Yeah.
So is Grangeville like the cow town in Florida, or is there another one that's more predominantly sort of the central hub of Florida cattle?
Okeechobee, I think, is probably. And then there's some great ranches like over on the coast, like St. Augustine. What's the name of that ranch? The Phillips Ranch is a huge, right on the, like, we're almost on the coast. But Okeechobee's got a pile of both beef cows and dairy cows. There's decent amount here south of here. So yeah, almost anywhere you can have a flat spot for a cow where she won't drown.
See,
they're gonna have them.
Dairy makes sense in Florida.
Yeah.
That's like something that, but is it which herd's larger, the dairy herd or the cattle herd? Probably cattle.
Oh,
Less maintenance.
I think cattle are, yeah, because dairy cows get too hot. Like, and you got to have a ton of fans on them because your production just takes a dump. There's some huge dairies, but I think beef cattle outnumbered dairy cows would be my guesstimate. Yeah.
What kind of beef cows are they? Not that I know a whole lot, but like I feel like sometimes I go places and their cows don't look like our cows.
These will
in
look
Oregon.
different. Yeah, they're different cows. They got a lot of indicus influence, which means they come from. So they're gonna have like bunchy skin. They're gonna look like a Brahman bull with the hump sometimes, or a Brangus, which is a cross between a Brahman and an Angus cow, and then like 19 different variations of that. Some Nelore, which is right from South America cow, but they're all gonna be like bigger kind of frame than you're used to seeing. They got different skin. They're light colored usually. Some brindle colored though that are pretty cool looking. But yeah, they got bigger ears. They got big wattles on their neck. They're built for heat, and so they've put a lot of time into making genetics where you still get good maternal instincts, and most importantly, like good meat quality. Because for a long time, like they didn't have a lot of that. They were just surviving. But when you did have a cat, you're like yeehaw. But now they've got a lot of good genetics they've been working on too, that they can survive the heat, live on this washy grass, and do a pretty good job.
And the beef all tastes about the same. Like, would it taste the same as like? Was it out here? Are they Hereford cows out here?
No.
You got Angus, some Hereford, Red Angus. Not many Hereford anymore, but
yeah,
British breeds, as they would say. Yeah. So that's the major. Got Bos Taurus and Bos Indicus. And Taurus are the ones that are mostly up in y'all's part of the world. And
sounds like
Indicus,
you're talking about weed strains or something.
Are you seeing any Santa Gertrudis and Beefmaster?
I've not seen them. I know there's quite a few down here, a lot of Gerts and some Beefmaster for sure too. But I think it just depends on who they know in Texas and how many Beefmasters or Gerts they got running around. But
do the King Ranch, does it still have a little hold in Florida?
I think so. I've not been there. I've been in Texas, but not been over this one. I'll have to find out. Yeah, I got a lot of research to do still on Florida beef cattle presence, but yeah, we had some. I cooked some ribeyes the other night that they didn't appeal to be very marbled, but they were extremely tender, phenomenal, and that's from some of that Kempfer genetics, which are pretty impressive. They've been focused on tenderness for like 15, 20 years, and so it didn't look like a supreme steak, but it was really tasty and very tender.
This brings me to my newest rant.
Ooh. Welcome to Richard's newest rant.
I always get jumped on by people when I'm talking about grass-fed, because I talk about it too much, but because the people feel
inconceivable.
People feel like I'm putting down conventional cattle, which I'm trying to back off to and not doing. And they're like, there's nothing better than a grain-fed, like continental breed.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not, and I just don't I'm producing for a certain customer base that wants this product. And I think that there's this I think that this traditional, this in the ranching industry, this thing that the highest quality, best piece of meat that you can get is grain-fed Midwestern, stocky, fed 190, 300 days, is sort of a misnomer. And I think that we're beginning to find out that there's a great variety of different subtle flavors that come with different breeds and different types of environments, and that people are starting to identify those more. And different flavor profiles have different appeal to different people. And a lot of
it's much like wine.
Yeah.
I think.
And I think we're a long ways from it yet, but I think that as we mature, as far as understanding rangeland animals and stuff, that it's sort of like recognizing seasonality. Like, it's not really good to have avocados in Wisconsin in February. I mean, we can do it.
They didn't come from there, probably. Yeah.
But there's probably a lot of stuff that in that environment, you'd have more roots and tubers in the falls and the winters and that stuff. And having, I just found these candy grapes. They're amazing. But normally we would be consuming those. Every region has a different type of goat or a different breed of animal or a different type of ruminant that's particular to that region, different types of sheep, thorax, pigs, all the way across the board. So I think as we concentrate on understanding our own food sheds more, we need to drop some of these preconceived notions of what is the most proper, what is the highest and best use of the animal. Because
that's great.
Because I can guarantee you that these Akiushi calves that we're raising, which are not from here, but they're converting grass, they taste really good. And I'd put a well-marbled Akiushi grass-fed calf up against any grain-fed any day. And we've been living off them primarily now for the last 16 months. And I'm impressed with it.
It's tasty.
Yeah.
I tell you, I'm a picky sumbitch when it comes to a steak. Like, I rarely order one at the restaurant, like, ever. Semiotti's and the Nebraska Club, about the two places I'd ever order a steak and know I was going to enjoy it. Mostly because you just don't get what you're hoping for. I've had that Akiushi. I bought some from Heart Brand several times. Damn good. The ribeyes I cooked the other night, like, I would not have bought them in the store just by looking at them.
Right.
I think I even have a picture of them before I cooked them. But they were phenomenal. So yeah, you're right. That's going to keep evolving, I think, and options are going to be there. And I think that's so cool. And I think it's good to keep trying that and pressing it forward and seeing what you might like and what you can make. And like you said, I'm making it for people looking for this. So, you might be looking for it. You just don't know it yet.
The
I think you need to send some to Joel.
I learned about is pigs. So there's a guy in pigs that's trying to get a grass-fed. There's focus on pasture-raised pigs, and the genetics of the pigs are so geared towards that barn system,
Certainly,
and certain types of feed and a certain level of medication to keep them going, that he actually has to ferment milk to supplement them as he's developing them. And each generation, he picks the ones that go off of the best, and he keeps those and he breeds them back. And every time he can get them to convert more grass and not be so reliant on the grains and the different other types of inputs that the commission had. The meat that his pigs are producing are as red as a beef. That white.
I bet so, yeah.
So I think as the agriculture systems change and demands of customers change, we'll find that there's a great amount of variety in meat that we may have walked away from 50 or 60 years ago that we're going to start bringing back.
Well, yeah, I think we're constantly pushing towards efficiency, and maximizing what I can do per square foot of land, be it with a cow or with a grain or with a pig or a chicken or whatever. That's got us to where we're at, which in some regards is absolutely amazing with the science we're able to take advantage of. However, we've become diversified enough, I think, in our economy and our taste that we're going to be looking for these other crafted ways of having that product also And if people can figure out how to market that properly, they're still going to make money, maybe even more on a per unit basis. And I think it's going to continue to expand. And that's just awesome to see. I think it's amazing. But that's undoing a lot of really focused and intense selection to get back to the other part. But, it won't take that many generations, I think, to get where he wants to be.
Especially with pigs.
Yes. Yeah. Joel, you having fun yet?
We lost him.
Joel's like, I just wanted a fucking chicken nugget, man. That's all. What's going on here? Yeah.
Yeah, I like the idea of like a craft meat industry, so similar to like beer. People get all cultish around it.
Yeah.
When you guys were talking about that, what's appropriate to raise in different geographic locations, I always think back to, I heard a statistic once about, can't remember what kind of nuts they grow in California, but is it walnuts or
Almonds?
some almonds? It takes like 10 gallons of water to produce one fucking almond. Have you ever heard of this?
There's the approved media narrative of what it takes, and then there's the reality of what it is. It's like it takes 650 gallons of water to raise an animal. I don't know. I forget what
pound of beef or whatever they said at one time. Yeah.
Incredible. They just they actually just start putting out some more accurate numbers, but it's really good for the narrative to say that it takes, the interesting thing is the thing that they don't ever pick on that uses a lot of water, wine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's untouchable. It has It has the most synthetic inputs. If you get a bottle of wine, you're probably getting more glyphosates and different types of synthetic chemicals in that wine than you're going to get in any almond, any animal, any crop. It is so concentrated that they can test it with a strip to find out that they could test. It's amazing. And I'm not.
Sounds not like it might not be good for you.
No.
Yeah, if I can bear down. Yeah.
I didn't. I thought wine was just grape juice fermented.
They got to grow those damn grapes, though. Yeah, and that's not easy.
Wait, so what's the water for? Other than to make the liquid to drink?
Growing the grapes?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Yeah. Sometimes wine gets thirsty too, Joel. We must keep it happy. Yeah.
Well, I was like, you drink the wine. It's like water-based. So that's not really
Think about
a waste
all
of
that
water.
water then. Yeah.
No, but where's the misinformation on growing one of those, whatever you called it, Micah, for 10 gallons of water to produce one of those? What is it?
Almond?
What is it? Almonds. And almonds aren't even good. They're terrible.
Almonds are amazing. You shut your word maker.
You wasting all this water down in California, and they can't really spare a whole lot of it.
The only thing that wastes water in California is the fucking people. All right? That's what wastes the water in California.
We my sister runs in the Delta, and which is a unique place in the United geographic states, and the way the water works in that part of California. And they actually let water go by crops to go out to the sea so that they can save a little chub fish that probably is hardy enough to survive the way that it had been. I mean, there's other things that they need to talk about as far as what's going into that water and runoff and that kind of stuff. But they are actually bypassing growing crops, using water for that, and running it out through the bays and into the ocean. So there is a water problem in California, but it's not what they're talking about.
And a lot of places we grow stuff that probably should never be there or would be smarter somewhere else, but it's because we've domesticated it and we like to have it close by. So, sometimes you can tune what you're growing to your area. Other times you're square pegging into a round hole because I like it. I couldn't get it before because if I couldn't grow it here, I couldn't have it. So I figured I wanted to make it grow here.
I don't know why you guys
Like
are
corn.
defending cashews so hard.
Cashews? What the hell? It's not cashews. Almonds, damn it.
Almonds,
Or as
sorry.
my aunt used to say, almonds, which always drove me nuts. Yeah.
I'm thinking that corn was
Still, almonds and cashews, they're both fine.
corn was probably never
What'd you say, Richard?
grow in North Dakota.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, greenhouse time, something like that. But yeah, you think about all the work they've done on corn to get it to grow in different places in a fewer degree days, you know.
How many cobs of
figure it
corn
out.
do you think grow on one stalk?
Ooh, they are
Depends
steady.
Depends
Are we
on the
looking
type
at-
of corn for one, but yeah, it's.
So like 5 or 6 of them on one stalk?
Oh no, you're gonna have what 10, 15, or 20 years on a stalk.
Yeah, somebody in
15?
Australia just set the
Oh.
world record for the most bushels per acre. Just set it. It's incredible. And like I
I
saw,
don't know what it is, but they just did it. Yeah.
I saw a picture of the crop. It is insane. You couldn't even see through it.
Not a good venue for children of the corn too.
Yeah,
Couldn't move.
corn
Couldn't
maze is not
maneuver.
gonna work. Yeah, you're just
You'd
stuck
be too
there.
tired to. You'd be too tired to go after the victim after you chopped your way through the.
They're
machine.
literally of the corn. Yeah, they can't go anywhere else. Yeah. Then eventually it'd be old people of the corn because they couldn't go anywhere. Yeah.
Signs would have been a lot shorter movie.
They just come down and they just bounce off the corn and like, well, screw this, we're going somewhere else. Yeah.
You know, on signs, when you bring that up, my position on that was always, why don't they just harvest their crop? If they knew that the aliens were following the sign, the crop circles, you could have just cut down your field. They would have been screwed. Right?
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Signs.
I heard that movie. I don't think I ever saw the movie. I never
I
watched
thought you guys were just talking about signs.
Yeah, I was. I can't believe you haven't seen that movie yet.
it. No, I haven't.
Man.
Yeah.
I'll put it on my list. Yeah. Nice way of sneaking that yet. Yeah.
Mel Gibson and the guy with the pallet deal that was
Yeah. River. Oh, Phoenix. Yeah.
Joaquin.
Yeah. Joaquin.
Oh yeah.
Not
he
River.
was in that.
River's dead. It's Joaquin. Yeah. Yeah. I was just looking at that. I'm like, no thanks. Wasn't that an M. Night Shyamalan Ding Long?
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good. That's one of his better ones.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, I'll put it on my list. We'll see if I get bored. Yeah. We'll find out. Speaking of movies,
Yeah.
speaking of freaking movies, should we actually kick into the movie of the week? Big Jake. Big Jake. 1971 John Wayne classic. Big Jake at McCandless. I thought you were dead. Yeah, that cracked me up. John Wayne, Maureen O'Hara, like the 2 of John Wayne's sons were in it. Patrick Wayne, which was in a lot of movies, and then little Jake was actually one of John Wayne's boys, also, I think.
Really?
Big pile of
Who was his other real life son? The blonde?
Yeah.
no Patrick, the smart ass guy. Like, okay,
The one that
father,
drove
he
the
gets-
motorcycle.
No, not that guy. The guy that
Oh,
got
the
whipped off the horse at the beginning. Kept
That was
calling him
James.
daddy.
Yeah.
James McCandless was Patrick Wayne, who was in quite a few John Wayne movies, actually.
Well, that
But,
explains it. That's why he was such a bad actor. It was nepotism.
Yeah.
It was
Yes.
painful to watch.
Yeah.
What was the whole deal with that scene where he's like, "Welcome home, Daddy. Glad to
It's just
see
being
you,
a smart ass,
Daddy."
apparently,
It's so
because he hadn't been
creepy
his
to call
dad.
him
That's why.
Dad.
Yeah, like he's just giving him. The more he called him daddy, the more he realized you're not really my dad. You've never been here. So that pissed off John Wayne, I think. Yeah. So they got to
Very
have
weird
that,
scene.
because if you ever. So did you ever watch McClintock, Mr. Joel?
I don't know. Is that one of our movies of the week?
That was a long time ago. Yeah. I don't think you remember
I think
it.
I watched it.
Anyways,
I
Patrick Wayne's in that one too, and they have several fights with him in that one. So it's just what they do too. Yeah.
You did watch it. You had the commentary on the horse slap.
Okay, yeah, that was
Yeah,
McClintock. Yeah,
but you don't remember it. Yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So this was in 71. I think 77 was the shootist. I think that was his last movie, right? So, I think he kind of knew he wanted to get one of these more in. He had Maureen O'Hara, which is one of his favorite co-stars, a good kind of travel and hero story, which he liked to do. It's one of my probably top 20. It's honestly not one of my favorite John Wayne movies. I think they were stuck. I don't know. I didn't appreciate the 1909 setting and the change, and I like McClintock a lot better, I guess. But it's still good. It seemed to drag a bit for me, though, just personally. I know some people are probably running off in the ditch right now to hear.
Yeah,
But
I like the
that's
whole.
my opinion.
I like the whole peck and paw. vibe about it.
Well, maybe that's why I didn't like it. Yeah, I don't know.
It's a much darker, harder edge movie for John Wayne. It's so.
I'll give you that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's
But he seemed to do more of those later on in his career. He got a little more dark, and I mean that, but it's been the culture shifting a bit too. But yeah, a lot of shooting. I did like dogs shredding everybody's wheat. I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
And it's
Look at Joel. Joel, what?
Weigh in here, Joel. You can talk about it.
For those of you who are just listening and driving down the road, Joel's kind of shaking his head. He's definitely got what I would deem a shit-eating grin, and he's ready to spring some sort of wisdom upon us.
Well, it's probably the worst, most bizarre ending to a movie I've ever seen. So, the big wrap-up scene, the gunfight, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And the Indian, who was a very important character in the movie,
Mr. Sharpnose. Yeah. The white dude who played the Indian. Yeah.
Gonna spoil it, but he's white. Well, he got shot and killed, as did Dog. The dog.
Dog got,
one of the main characters.
got chopped up. Yeah.
But they never even. I mean, they kind of they get chopped up, both of them.
Yeah.
They never even talk about it. They never address the fact that, oh, that's sad. Instead, the movie ends right after that, and they walk off smiling.
They're laughing like
patting each other on the back, like.
And they have that freeze frame laugh. Yeah, I know. And they're gonna cry later on when they're like, "Hey, who's gonna get Sam's horse?" Part of that was, and that's that freaking Peckinpah ending too that I didn't really care for. But like, dude, your best friend and dog just got hacked to bits by a psycho dude who looked way too much like me, by the way. And
like, does this 8-year-old? I think they had to ask themselves, was it worth it? Was this 8-year-old worth it to lose dog and your best friend, the Indian guy? And say no, it's not worth the risk.
When he's at the train station and he's like, I need one more thing. I'll need a piece of his clothing to track him with. And she hands him like the little Sunday school marm hat. He kind of looks at it like, whatever. Like, Jesus, I've been gone too long because this is the hat my grandson's wearing. That struck me so funny. Just the look on his face, like, oh shit, yeah. But I think the concept of the story is great. I like the switch, where they decide not to pay the money, even though they said they are going to, and so they've been hauling around a huge trunk full of paper, basically.
But if you think of that, I don't know if it happened in that was the first movie they did it, but that's basically the premise to like Ransom.
Oh, for a lot of movies, yeah. Like, screw you. It's just like Ransom. Yeah, I'm the tough dad. I'm going to come get you myself. You had your chance, and now I'm going to kill you dead. For those of you playing along at home, I guess we'll give you the quick synopsis, too, for Big Jake. Like, he's been gone, whoring around the country. I guess they really don't say what he's been doing. But he's gone from the ranch forever, and some ruffians come in and shoot the shit out of everybody and take the little grandson and leave a ransom note, So it wasn't like a spur of the moment thing. Like, they traveled there specifically for that and set a lot of things into motion. And she gets a letter to him. I don't know. She just wrote like Big Jake, freaking New Mexico, and they found him, But
everybody else thought he was dead.
Every time they run into somebody, like, oh, I thought you were dead. Yeah, which always kind of made me laugh. Yeah. But they come together. They won $1 million in 1909. And I like the line. He's like, "Do we have $1 million?" She's like, "Yes, many times over." He's like, "Okay." But did they ever say what he's been out doing or why he's not home? Did they ever touch on that, Richard?
I was just looking it up. I think McCandless, Texas is a real place. And I think the ranch.
I think so.
I think that a lot of that is sort of based on a true. I think it was just huge, and he probably never had to go back. So.
But where was he at? Like, what was he doing?
Yearlings.
Buying cows?
Back, yeah. But
an outlaw, bounty hunter.
No.
I think even then, I'd want to come back to my place every once in a while and just see what the hell's going on. Just saying.
I think they were divorced, like they were split up, weren't they?
No. No, just like McClintock, like she was gone off to DC. McClintock, he was home on the ranch. This one, I guess, was like the payback that she was running the place, and he was, I don't know what he was doing, but yeah, because it wasn't like he had a whole herd of guys that ran around. It was him and his dog. But anyways, he gets the money. They go to track the guys down, and of course, the sheriff and his Mormon buddies try something, and they're all riding in their cars, and they all break down and get shot to shit, and they go on their way, and he tracks them down, and then the end. But yeah, there was some interesting moments. Of course, they tried to touch on that turn of the century time where there's conflict between the cars and the horses and the old and the new, and that dude on the motorcycle. A lot of times that guy ate shit, but yeah, he was.
Well, he was just buzzing the people, the bad guys, buzzing them. Wasn't even doing anything to them when he tried by him,
Oh, yeah. I think he did scare the horses at one time. Yeah. But,
yeah.
He hit that. He jumped off that rock and hated that one guy. That was pretty cool. That was like an Evel Knievel moment there. But, yeah, I liked the cool scabbard he had on his bike, too. It was pretty cool. But he couldn't shoot that pistol for shit. Yeah.
I don't think the movie, and I guess it's arguable whether it was a success or not, but I don't think it would have been successful had John Wayne and O'Hara not done so many previous movies, because a lot of their dialogue was body language.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought that was an exceptional part of the movie, is their interaction. Probably the best of, it just shows a mature, it really conveys like they were really married. Like that, what goes unspoken between them is what the whole premise of the movie is about.
Mm-hmm.
They are able to pull it off in a brief scene in that train station.
Well, yeah, because it's like, are you sure this is what you want? And you think at the time they're talking about giving them the money, but obviously they've spoken or another time or no, that there's no way in hell they're ever going to give them that money. And so that's, when he says, like, are you sure this is what you want? Yes. So that comes to light at the end when the kids they have that battle in the hotel room and they figure out that there's nothing in the trunk besides paper.
Yeah. And I think it speaks to, like, even though their day-to-day physical relationship might have soured, their intimate understanding of each other's capacity to weather this kind of situation is just, I think that's if you threw the whole movie out and just kept that train station scene, that's a brilliant scene in any movie.
Oh, I completely agree. And it stands up well, and it gets reinforced at the end when you find out all out again, even more. I can't argue that at all. No, I think that, and like you said, I think it's built off some of their previous times. I think they take that into part of the account, or at least maybe I do mentally when I see them there again.
And then the other...
No, I think it's someone that everybody should watch. It's just not one of my all-time favorite John Wayne movies.
The other thing is, given the era that was produced, it's like when you we have this problem where we, like, with tearing down the monuments of things that have happened. We're trying to frame the movie in a 2020 context when it was a 1970s context. And the movie was, I think, in 71 when it was done, was such a raw and departure from what was normal for John Wayne, and especially for Richard Boone, that after that movie, Richard Boone never really worked again, because at the time his portrayal of the bad guy was so sinister, and like there's two big pivotal movie scenes that involved children in the 70s and 60s, and the one was What's the Plan in the West, when Henry Fonda shot the kid, and the other one was Richard Boone and the way that he treated the kid in Big Jake. And
don't forget, I've got one more.
Yeah,
Bruce Dern in The Cowboys.
Yeah,
smashing that kid's glasses and smacking him around. That ruined Bruce Dern forever. Yeah.
And it changed the trajectory of three great actors' entire careers, and changed their roles that they'd have in the future and stuff. So why we have this context of 2020 and we're not looking at it through the 1971 lens as to how probably disruptive why it didn't catch on is probably because it was way before its time.
Are you saying those scenes were controversial back in the day, so much so that kind of canceled the actors? Just for beating up kids?
Yeah. certainly Bruce Dern, especially in the Cowboys, because he was, you know, smashed his kids' glasses and stomped them all around. He killed John Wayne, shot him in the back, and you know that was like people would come up on the street and like cuss him out, like you son of a bitch. Like it was freaking like you don't kill John Wayne, dude. Like he'd never died in a movie before.
Isn't that when Sammyville from Elgin shot the screen?
Shot the screen. Yeah, exactly.
You can like look back at those people and be like, they were crazy. Didn't they understand these are just characters? But people still do that today when it comes to like, I don't know, drama on Real Housewives or something. It's all fabricated.
Yeah, and I think for a lot of people, and I think this is why it's so special to me, especially, John Wayne represented America or Americans. You know, like Sands of Iwo Jima and all the cowboy movies and all the war movies, like he was what we're all about, dude. Like you want to mess with me? I'm gonna kick your ass and walk away and go smoke some cigarettes. You know, that's just what it was. And so you had those heroes that no matter what happened, you know, they're gonna come through. And someday they didn't, you know. Of course it was the 70s too, and there's all sorts of other chaos going on, but like they decided finally that somebody's gonna kill John Wayne and of course gonna shoot him in the back. So yeah, that's you know, Bruce Dern had to wait like 60 years to get some roles with Quentin Tarantino.
Yeah.
So
and there's just one more pivotal scene that if we don't discuss.
Sorry to interrupt, Richard. Yeah.
I think that there's just one more pivotal scene. If we don't discuss it, we're really doing the movie a disservice. And that's buying the sheep from the Irishman that's being hung.
To be sure, yes.
One of the greatest openings of any movie ever.
I really enjoyed that part. Yeah, that's where you got the first "I thought you were dead." You know, it gives him a lowball price, and you know, you can you want to think about that. Then, like in your request, can I come with the sheep or something like that? And, yes, you may. You know, so yeah, that was pretty damn good. I'd forgotten the importance of that for sure because some great lines.
It doesn't look like you're in much of a position to be bargaining.
Yes. Yeah, that was classic. Just hanging him because he's a damn sheep herder, you know. Yeah, so yeah, that was awesome. But no, again, I think it's a great movie. I think everybody should watch it. I just don't. It's not one of the first five I really whip off on my John Wayne must-see list. Probably because it is pretty dark, you know.
It is right up there for me. I'd put it as my favorite. I think. I don't know why, but
yeah, I think Ralls. When you guys were talking about it, you guys were both pretty frothed up, and I was like, "Cool," you know. Yeah, like we all have our preferences, and I'm probably the more lighthearted John Wayne guy than the series. Like, you know, I like The Searchers a lot, though. And that's a dark movie for sure. One of the darker ones, but yeah, no, I think it's
of all the John Wayne movies that could be remade, I think it's the best candidate.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I thought they did a good job with what was that, True Grit they did a few years ago?
Yeah.
I think they nailed that one pretty well. How big Jake could be? Who'd play John Wayne?
You know, I would hate to say this, but I think that like I think Bruce Willis would be awesome. He's just the right age.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Bruce Willis. Now, I would think
Sigourney Weaver.
What's that?
Bruce and Sigourney.
Oh, I think of more of a. Oh, what's that guy's name?
Kevin Costner. He's doing a good job playing a cowboy on Yellowstone.
Oh yeah, he would be good.
I think Josh Brolin could do a great job too.
Oh,
you can make him look a little older.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the son that kept calling him Daddy, I thought that guy looked like Josh Brolin. Kinda, yeah. He always reminds me of Jethro from the Beverly Hillbillies too.
You know who that would be? Who could be the son? What's his name? Oliphant.
Timothy Oliphant. Oh yeah, I'm a huge fan of that guy. Yeah. I've seen Justified like 4 or 5 times. Yeah, that's a great series.
And he's in Deadwood.
Yes.
He's
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Underrated.
Ian McShane could be the freaking
Boone?
John Fane. Yeah. Yeah, a rumph. Hollywood, if you're listening, and I freaking know you are, we laid it out for you boys.
Perfect time for Lou Diamond Phillips to play the Indian sidekick.
Oh, yeah.
Nice pairing. Bolin and Lou Diamond Phillips. That would be a badass.
I'd be in. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be down.
But
come on, kids, make it happen.
If you're gonna do Borland, you're gonna need another female lead.
Yeah.
Renee Russo.
Oh, I'd buy that.
Yeah.
I'd buy that for $1. Absolutely. Yeah. Harumph, good sir. Yeah. Who's writing this shit down, kids? This stuff ain't free. Come on. Yeah. That's
I want publishing credits.
Harumph. We got it. It's right here. It's documented. Yeah, this is copyright 2020. MRJR Productions. Yeah. So yeah. Outstanding. So that was Big Jake. Good, bad, ugly. I think we all liked it in a different way. Again, it's one of the, I think everybody should see just because of how it travels and some of these moments we've covered. Again, it's not like half of us, it's like the top John Wayne movie, and another half are like, yeah. But that's what makes this whole deal fun. So that leads us right in directly to one of my favorite segments, which is the intellectual moment of the week. And it varies on the level of intellectuality. And I saw something the past couple of days, and then I found an article on it tonight on the wallstreetjournal.com. And the title of the article, United States Post Office to suspend changes until after election. And this is, let's see, by Natalie Andrews, Alexa Corse, and Paul Ziobro. It was just written tonight, August 18th at 5:32 p.m. So Postmaster General Louis DeJoy says the agency won't remove equipment or cut hours amid congressional scrutiny ahead of an expected surge in mail-in voting. So this is all tied to the pictures online of mailboxes on trucks going away and people claiming that that's how the election is going to get fixed. It's just not going to have any fucking mailboxes. Turns out, apparently they do this all the time. They've been doing it for years, where they either move them to different spots or they take them to get repaired at this big place, like in Wisconsin, I think is one place, and they get painted and brought back. So it's not like a giant conspiracy unrolling in front of us. It's been going on for quite some time. People are just starting to pay attention to the post office again now, apparently. But so they've decided, like, we are freezing all activities until after the election so we can be standing tall and nobody can accuse us of sucking any more than we already do. So I thought it was interesting because they decided to make it clear they weren't changing anything for a while. But have you guys heard anything about this? And if so, what are you thinking, Lincoln?
You can go ahead,
Richard. You can't just shake your head online. People don't know what you're doing. Yeah.
I just remember the midterms when they have the video footage of the post office. This was during COVID. Of the post office employee taking the mail-in ballots and dumping them in the trash.
Yes.
So I prefer that they don't have anything to do with the voting because I don't think it's legit. I know that Nancy says it's unconstitutional not to do mail-in voting, but I would have to disagree with her because I think that a big part of your civic duty is to get your ass to the polling place and vote. And and something as important as this, we need to stop. The politicalization of COVID is gone, is beyond pale. And,
comprehension. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just saw a great from a reliable source of a concert in Wuhan, China, with over 100,000 people. Not a face mask in the thing. So you cannot no longer tell me that this is political. That this is for health reasons. I'm done with that completely. If Wuhan, the center of it all, where they just had another outbreak less than 30 days ago, is having 100,000 plus concert with no face mask, then I call BS, and get your ass to the polling place.
Well, yeah, and people are protesting about not being able to show up in person.
Yes.
That's the definition of irony, I think, where I come from. Yeah, I think I put a thing on Facebook and LinkedIn a couple days ago about how you should have to have ID to vote. And I had several people, they didn't put it online. They said, that sounds pretty racist, Micah.
Yeah.
Then I said, what in the ever-living dog fuck are you talking about? Racist. And they go, well, we know you're not racist, but that sounds racist to us. And I was like, dude, I'm saying the most sacred right that we have as a citizen needs to be protected at all costs. And I think if you have to show ID to get on a plane, and that's what it said, if you have to show ID to get on a plane, you should have to show ID to vote. And I think, like, well, we can't get, that suppresses people because they can't get the ID. And I'm like, I think your social security number or a card or some sort of that stands in just as well, because you're still finding a way to get assistance and everything else in the sun. Without this magical ID, you can go frickin' vote. And I know there in the past, there's been times when people have been suppressed way back in the day with quizzes you had to answer and polls and taxes and all that shit. Yeah, no doubt about it. There's no way that should ever be conceived now. And I think having that, everybody has to show up. You have to prove that you're a citizen before you can vote here, should not be that crazy. If we were starting from scratch today and we weren't all politicized, I think we'd all agree that would make sense. Like, hey guys, if you're not a member of the family, you don't get to go where we go on vacation, okay? Joel, you're the boyfriend, you sit down. Everybody else in the family gets to vote about our family vacation. So we would do that for that, but we don't give a shit about our country and the election. So, I don't know what, I'm not saying you have to have like a laminated placard. I think there has to be a way to show that you are a citizen. Holy Christ almighty, for me to get a Florida license, I have to drag in DNA from my third grade teacher, for God's sakes. I mean, it's the most ridiculous list of shit I have to go dig up to take to the DMV to prove I can drive in this state. Way less than I need to go vote. I think it's out of balance, It's not about keeping somebody from voting who should. It's about making sure everybody who votes is people who should be doing that. So this mailbox thing kind of set that off in many different formats, but I think it's ridiculous. And Joel, you're unusually quiet for this topic.
Well, yeah. I don't want to say anything that would get me in too much trouble, but I totally agree with you. What it is it's the minimum amount of work that you need to do to participate in this country. Yeah, it could be go get a fucking ID. You're an adult. You need an ID.
You need an ID already, right? Yes, thank you very much. You do almost anything, you need an ID.
If you are incapable of that, I disrespect your judgment so much that I would straight up vote so that you cannot vote. Like, it's the minimum.
So there's 7 people across the U.S. that might fall in that category.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who's that person going to vote for and on what grounds?
Well, that doesn't matter. Like, seriously. But you hit it on the head, though. Like, dude, you are an adult of 18 years of age or older. You need ID to live in this country, basically. Like, seriously. If you get caught driving without it, they're writing you up and taking you to jail. Like, you go anywhere, you've got to show your ID. Like, if you write a check or you got a credit card, half the time they want to see your ID. So, it is not a completely foreign concept we just pull out of our ass. Like, how can we keep people we don't like from voting? No. Like, you live here.
I just wish people who didn't know anything about the topic or the candidate just refrain from even participating in the vote. So, like, when I go in and vote, there's a whole bunch of different things on the ballot of these different races that I've never even heard of. I don't know who any of these people are. I could
Backup dog catcher from Sector 7. You're like, I don't know who the hell Steve Williams is, but
yeah. you could vote by political party, I suppose, but even that, I never do that. I don't know that these people.
Can you
I don't
imagine
know
if
what they
people
do.
voted for somebody just because of the color of their skin, or they're a female or male? Can you imagine how crazy that is? I'm sorry. That side note was brought to you by Micah and this "what the hell's going on in this country" moment.
I'm always amazed to when you go in the ballot to find out who you think is good that's not in your party. Like local elections, especially, I found like I'll go in and see their name and I'll see the D next to them. I'm like, I'm still voting for him, but I was like, oh, had no clue.
Yeah. Outstanding. Yeah. I got an invite today. Oh, this will kill you. I got an invite today to be in a Facebook group, and nothing against them. I just don't know why they sent it to me. Maybe they want a token. Eastern Oregon Dem/Lib Friends, private group, 11 members. One of them thinks I'm funny or whatever, invited me to the group. I've not decided whether I'm going to join or not yet, because, well, I got better things to do really than get tangled up into that. But hey, thanks for the invite. I guess I should be more radical on my Facebook posts, but very honored. Yes, I might join just to see what you guys are all about.
The whole USPS controversy and the conspiracy theory that by the left, like I don't get it. There's some pictures that went viral of people complaining that Trump's locking up the mailboxes with those red locks. They probably always do that. It's just you never look at a mailbox.
Dude,
like
exactly.
I didn't
Everything
know
has
where a
been
mailbox
done for
was around
years.
my apartment. There's
Exactly.
one out right outside
and like,
the door, and I never even noticed it.
And like it's at the time of this recording, it's August. So I'm gonna lock them up now. Is that the other point? Like, just what you get used to being no mailboxes. Like, if I'm gonna spring a surprise on you, so you don't know where to go put your mail, I'm doing it about 2 days or a day before the election, maybe the morning of. I'm not gonna spring this on you in August, because hopefully by November, your dumbass can figure out where to put the envelope by then. Hopefully, maybe not. I'm just saying. So again, yeah, it's like, guys, this stuff happens all the time. We just don't ever pay attention to it because it doesn't freaking matter. But I'm sure some people are screaming. Maybe not many of our listeners, but maybe. I'm saying we get a somewhat diverse crowd. They're that 1% in Sierra Leone or whatever. Yeah. Sorry, Chris. So yeah, again, it's context. And those pictures have been out. Everybody knows it's about maintenance. They're never going to retract them. They're never going to tell a different story about it. It's going to be that, the evil orange man is whipping his herds into a frenzy with the post office now. So, yeah. And this is just the beginning, kids. Every week's going to get crazier. So
when it comes right down to it, I would trust FedEx more to deliver my ballot than I would the U.S. Post.
1,000%.
Yeah.
Even UPS. Yeah. Like, that's the thing I always said about the post office. Like, you have a monopoly and you couldn't stay afloat. That was always my example of like why you shouldn't trust the government to run shit. Like, they had the post office. There was nobody else competing against them. They couldn't make money. That's not a good sign. Just saying.
I have a relative that's pretty high up in the post office, and they were telling me that one of the highest revenues for the post office when you get past Amazon is the junk mailer out. Like,
I'm sure. That's the only thing you get in the freaking mail anymore.
The percentage of domestic mail that is handled by the post office anymore is just minute. I mean, so like they rely on mailers to stay afloat. And like, I honestly believe that the post office could probably be profitable, but it just seems to be a holding ground for there's layers and layers of bureaucracy, and if you cut out about 30% of that, you probably have a profitable agency.
No, absolutely. It's a bloated sea cow. Like most of the things that are done that way. It's like, it is what it is, man. It's a prime example of when it's ran by the government. I'm just saying, like, look at it. Cut it in half, it'd probably still be about it right.
You guys would say that every piece of mail that goes out, the taxpayer subsidizes the cost of that package, right?
Well, I don't know what the break even is now. It's a stamp, 50 cents, 52, 55.
Only old people know how
And
much stamps are.
I have no idea. Yeah.
I don't think they even have a cost anymore.
What's that?
I don't know if they even have a cost. They don't even have a. I think you just get the forever stamps.
They're all forever, but
Yeah.
it just depends on when you buy them, how much they cost.
Yeah.
But Joel, I do think we're subsidizing. There's no doubt about it. Like it's not been profitable for a long, long time. So wouldn't you think if something's still open and it's not profitable that we're subsidizing it? So junk mail pisses me off twice.
I think there should be some common ground. Like, we don't need to maintain the level of service that the USPS currently provides. There are some people in very rural places where FedEx probably doesn't go, right?
No.
No.
UPS or FedEx. UPS will get it to you in
pretty much.
They can get it to you almost in the United States.
Maybe
UPS,
I mean, FedEx can cover pickup and delivery. Okay, get rid of USPS.
You know, the thing about the mail is, like, especially I grew up with a small rural post office. Like, you didn't have a mailbox. You had the post office where you had your little mailbox on the wall.
Yeah,
and
like
so sometimes you wouldn't get your mail for a long time, and it would still be there. That's the downfall of FedEx or whatever. It might be, maybe they'd have to hold it at the hub, which could suck, or it just sits out somewhere, and maybe you put a FedEx box up. But they run circles around them. Yeah,
it's weird in a place like New York City where they probably have hundreds of post offices. You don't even need them. We have plenty of other services with alternatives, but they're spending billions of dollars a year to have that just in Manhattan. You don't need that.
It was a shifting marketplace too. Like, you used to write letters all the time, and all your bills came in the mail, and all your Social Security checks come in the mail, and all that stuff. And anymore, it's direct deposit. When's the last time anybody wrote you a letter besides like a lawyer? Like, seriously, like, and they probably got FedEx, So, granted, the market has shifted, but they have not. And I think they were complaining about Amazon a while back, like you're the morons that negotiated the rate. You can't blame Amazon for that. Like, you said,
Trump
yes.
Trump just tweeted that before we joined.
He was raking them like months ago. He raked them over the coals about too. I'm like, dude, they agreed to the price. Like, unless they gave him the old, Sonny Corleone pistol to the head offer you can't refuse. So again, it's just a classic example, I think, of oftentimes they could be more efficient.
And I think that's what the Postmaster General was trying to do, is he was trying to put more of those costs off on Amazon, FedEx, UPS.
Yeah.
Because this online marketplace, especially with COVID, has really taken advantage of the weakness of the Postal Service. And those companies, I think what he'd like to do is make those companies stand alone. And when I think about it, I get this question from my mom all the time. Sometimes, like when I was away, I would just, if I wrote something, a mail or signed a contract, I go put it in FedEx, and I said, he'll receive it. And she's like, why don't you just send this US mail? It would have been cheaper. I was like, I wanted it to get there. I don't trust the post office enough to know that it'll get there. I don't know what's going to happen, but with FedEx, the level of trust is there that it will arrive, and UPS is my next choice. And then,
I think if you got tracking like that with the post office, that would help.
Yeah.
You almost, here's your tracking number. I can track it. I get updates on my phone. I can look it up where it's at. That's a huge part of it. And I'll pay for that extra of knowing, because you used to be able to send registered mail, but you still didn't really know until like a week later when you got the receipt back that they'd signed for it, So they didn't keep up with what was going on. And I'm sure Amazon, everybody's using them a lot more than before. But again, you apparently made a contract with them that you will provide the service at X. Now, when that contract's up, you can talk about renegotiating it or whatever, but somebody made a shitty deal, apparently. You would figure the more that Amazon's using them, the better off they'd be. I don't know how that's structured that they're losing money. So I'm not sure. Anyways, that all started with mailboxes, and kids, rest assured, mailboxes will be there if that's what you want to use to put your ballot in, which I would not do anyways. I would take it to the post office, I think. I think I'd rather just go sign, get my thumb purple like they do all across the world that I voted today and hand the son of a bocce in person. But that's just me. So
I'm sending my ballot in certified mail.
there you go.
I want Kate to sign it. He got it.
And FedEx that sumbitch in. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, state of Oregon, just send me your FedEx number. I'll send a ballot in. So it's called that the semi-intellectual moment of the week. But I think since inadvertently Mr. Joel picked the movie sort of by peer pressure, that also gives him the right to the far reaches word of the week. Joel, do you remember what you'd chosen as your word of the week?
Yeah, the word is bilge.
Bilge. L-G-E. Yes.
Bilge.
I think I know what that is. Yeah.
Tell us.
For in my country, where I am from, wherever that is at, that's the very bottom of the boat where all the water and oil and shit get to the bottom, and that's the bilge.
Yeah.
The bilge pump and bilge clean out, and it's nasty. Yeah. Is that what you were thinking about?
Yeah, that's it. Last week we were talking about went down to Newport and the bar had a bilge burger. So
outstanding.
We looked up what a bilge was. Like, it sounds pretty gross.
I wouldn't be naming a burger after that. No, that's I guess
that
like
was a premium burger.
A little bit of everything on it.
In Ohio, they call it a garbage burger.
Yeah. Lots of things ended up in the bilge. Let's put it that way. A lot of fluids.
Mostly people that were jackasses that ended up going down there clean stuff
They
up.
could get that. Well, yeah, that was part of the deal. Is like you had to go clean it out because there was usually a minimum like shit floating around underneath there. So before you got to port, you had to pump it out. But like a lot of oil, a lot of water. Oftentimes, if you didn't want to run up like 7 flights of stairs to go take a leak, you just piss in the bilge. God knows what else went in there. Yeah, so it's nasty. Yeah. Was also slang for, you call it bilge water wine. Sometimes you would make alcoholic beverages somewhat like they do in a prison. And they call it bilge water wine because sometimes they stick it down in there and nobody's going to go looking for it. But yeah, pretty much the nastiest place on a ship or even a boat because get your bilge pump. But yeah, interesting tie back there, Mr. Joel. Yeah, I'm sure it's a tasty burger, but did you look it up after you ate it or before?
I didn't eat at this establishment.
Okay.
Didn't meet my lofty standards.
Oh, outstanding. Yes. And that was in Newport?
Yeah, I drank there.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. Yeah, they had the Rogue Brewery used to be a great place to go in Newport. That was a fun place.
Yeah, we went there actually.
Oh yeah. Old crustacean barley wine. Yeah, or Arrogant Bastard.
Yeah.
Some of their earlier.
Which I'm in a depression about. I cannot find in Lakeview anymore.
What's that?
Arrogant Bastard.
Oh, shite.
I just want me a 40 of Arrogant Bastard.
Damn it. Well, I can't find Pendleton 1910 down here to save me arse. So I'm going to have to make a road trip or something. Yeah. But, well, outstanding word, Mr. Joel. Unexpected. I thought it might have had a different New York connotation. So impressive indeed. Yeah. So
I bet you can find 60 different types of rum.
Yes. Definitely. Yeah. There's that. But I'm not really a rum guy. So there we go.
You will be.
I will be. You'll take rum and like it, mister. Yeah. No, it's been a prevalence of bourbon lately as my host / landlord / friend likes to have tastings, as we call it. Yeah. So some people call it consumption or imbibing. So becoming more of a connoisseur of the bourbon trail. So that takes us to our next topic about what we learned, not necessarily in this episode, but in the past week or two. And again, guys, don't put too much pressure on yourself. A lot of times you hurt your brain in this segment. So Richard's staring off wistfully. That's so funny. Richard's looking off to the left. Joel's looking off to the right. Like they're looking at each other like on the Brady Bunch when they look down at each other. So, Rich, you want to kick this part off about what you've learned?
I did. Just happened to me like less than an hour before this podcast. I had I'll give you a little history on the real estate office that I'm part of. We went back, figured it out. It started in 1973. So
Outstanding.
Another lady owned it before the lady that I knew that owned it for most of my life for about 7 years. But her name is Virginia Vernon, and she came in.
Oh, yeah.
In with the office anymore. She's been retired for about 6 months now. Hence, I had a space. But she, as a child growing up, I would see the High Country Realty ads in the Western Livestock Journal property management thing. And while I had lots of other opportunities, probably with more prestigious type of real estate, better networked, better listings and everything, the opportunity to come back to a real estate agency that I followed and looked up to as a kid was just the romance of it all was too much to pass up.
Yeah, some nostalgia. Yeah, absolutely.
So in Lakeview, we tend to even give our elders shit. As she was walking out the door, she said, well, I don't know anything about real estate anymore. She's I think she's late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah,
so I can't really help you. And I yelled from my office. I said, "Go peddle your bullshit somewhere else, Virginia." So she came back and schooled me up on some real estate, making sales contacts, which I always find that in sales, when you have somebody that has been in a sales position and been successful like she has for 50 years, that you should just shut up and listen. And she brought up something that's really interesting, and it sort of ties into the postal office, but she said, you need to send a letter to everybody that you can think of and tell them that you're in this new position and you want to help them out, come by and visit you. And we are so digitized in this day and age that it never dawned on me. And I know mentally in my head that probably has the most impact of anything that you can do in sales. But I never thought of it until she sat down and talked to me about it. So
it's a tremendous point.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I was so thankful that she spent the time to school me up a little bit for being a smart ass, which also happens in Lakeview. You get so I'm happy to get my comeuppance today, get schooled in the art of sales, and just makes me look forward to this real estate adventure more and more. So
will you be employing the ancient tactics of a mail merge in your letter writing? Yes, very well.
I will be utilizing our taxpayer supported postal system.
A rumps. Yes. You got your fancy business cards yet?
Oh yeah. Darn it.
Oh, Falcon. Richard. You got to learn. You should be able to step out of the shower and hand somebody a business card.
I know. She gave me that lecture too. So this is my old business card. So the new one.
Oh, nice.
The new one has 2 horses hobbled, standing up in a green pasture. So, yeah.
Outstanding.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you know the address on your house is your postal address? Does the post office own your address, or does just the city own your address and the post office just uses that as a system to know who to deliver to? Who started that system? Because I'm sure there was addresses before. Well, I don't know. I don't know when the USPS started. So
that's a freaking chicken egg right there, isn't it?
I think that
if there's nobody delivering mail to your house, why would you need an address besides Steve gonna come find you? Damn it, that's a great question, Joel. Man, it was worth it. All that silence and brooding down there was worth that question alone.
I think we need to get Richard's cousin on the line.
Here's my understanding of how it goes. And it's an interesting full circle. Addresses were for the private fire companies. It cannot be a public service, and so you would get insurance with a company in your neighborhood, and then they would give you the address, and then it just became a way to mail. So then the post office sort of took over the addresses and formalized it. And then when 911 system was created, they reissued a bunch of addresses to rural places that had P.O. box numbers, therefore taking it over into the public services domain. So no longer does the post office create the addresses. The 911 system creates addresses.
All right.
Yeah, because for the longest time, we didn't have an address. We had a P.O. box.
Yeah.
And people would say, no, you need a, they call it a physical address. And I'm like, look, dude, there's not even a freaking road sign up. I can tell you come into town and take the first left by the church and go up 3 driveways and hang a left. That's where I freaking live. I get my mail at the store/post office, box 217. So I don't know what to tell you. Yeah. So that's when the UPS guy was your best friend, because you would just put the P.O. box and he would bring it to your house because he knew where you lived. Yeah. So, interesting point there, Richard. I like how you just like ninja that shit out like you knew exactly what you were talking about, and we just believed it all the hell. So
I could be completely wrong.
I just like the really sold it, and you were very sincere and affirm about it. So I'm going to buy it all. Yeah, absolutely. I'm in. To tell the truth, you'd be winning right now. Yeah. So, Mr. Joel, what have you learned?
Gosh.
No pressure. No pressure.
Yeah. Well, it's a hard thing to follow. That was a good week for Richard there. I don't know. I learned like some more about swimming pool care, how to turn off the pumps and the heaters in what order, and how to handle chlorine pucks.
That's important. Yeah. You got to give it the old shaka. Yeah.
Oh, you know what I just flashed to? Is the guy in Caddyshack that Bill Murray plays for.
That's exactly what I pictured. Yeah, that's why I was laughing so hard. You know, manganese. You know, a lot of guys don't even know what that is. Yeah, you know, like this Northern California Centimia and crested feather bins. Yeah, you know, it's play 36 holes, come home and get stoned, but Jesus, yeah. So why we connected that with a pool, except for the time the kid had the baby roots in the pool, but yeah. Just saying. Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Oh, Scraps, what are you making an appearance back there?
Oh,
hello, Superhound.
Scraps like, when are you getting out of my doghouse?
Like, hey, when you shut up and go to bed, you schmuck. Yeah. That's hilarious. So pool care, outstanding. Yes.
Yeah, pool care,
which is important. I mean, you know, Big Daddy entrusts you with the hacienda. You should come back as good or better than when he left it. Yeah.
Well, tell you what, those chlorine things are intimidating. Got big warning labels like says like, don't let this touch your skin. If it touches your skin, this is what you should do immediately. Yeah, I'm like,
it's kind of like a Fight Club. You know,
someone already touched my skin. And I was like, what's happening to my skin?
You may already be dead. You just don't know it yet. Yeah.
It feels fine.
You might wake up in the morning completely naked. Just no skin. Yeah. Don't touch your face. Yeah. So.
Yeah, after you touch this and jump into a pool, you'll probably drown.
You'll turn opaque.
You'll sink. I like using the word sink instead of drown.
Drowned. Died.
Yeah, you just sunk.
You sunk. Did you sink? You have sunken into the sink. Yes. So what have I learned? I've learned that I learned a lot more about Florida than I realized already when I was talking to you guys about the different grasses and things of this, that, and the other. So apparently my subconscious has been hard at work. I don't even need like the map to get to work anymore. There's like 3 or 4 different routes. So that's kind of cool. Yeah. So I've learned that I adapt quickly to a new area, whether I want to admit it or not. So I've also learned that it's good to see you a-holes, even though Mr. Ralls is chasing bales. So that brings us to reader mail. Now, we had a little hiatus, and I did not collect all of it, but I chose to pick some of the gems that were sent my direction during our brief time away. This is from Blaine in Oregon. Hey, where have you a-holes been? Question mark, exclamation point, question mark. We had Rich in Minnesota said, damn, I didn't think I would miss you assholes. Apparently, we should have just named our podcast Those Assholes. That would have been a lot better. The most touching one was from Amy in Oregon. Hey, something is missing in my life, which prompted me to respond in a rather inappropriate manner, to which I was told to go pound sand. So I will continue to collect some more of these back up. I didn't want to, shoot the whole moon, blow the wad first time back as far as hosting duty. So I thought that was quite entertaining. But yes, we were missed, and we are a-holes, apparently. That seems to be the universal agreement. And I really can't argue that, even with this, the three of us here. So
no hate mail from the last misguided episode?
No, actually, some thumbs up. Some thumbs up, and that was a great episode, by the way, too. It was fun to watch that.
It was like a pass it a Hail Mary, and I'm still not sure if it landed or not.
Like, going in 4th and long, this can tie the game. Richard's coming in off the bench. Yeah, it was. No, I think it was very organic, especially when you guys it was funny. You're just getting ready to wrap up. Ralls finally comes on, and you guys tear down the road again, which we're very famous for doing. Of like, okay, one last little wrap up. 50 minutes later, we're like, okay, well that's topic's been turned into jerky. So no, I think it was great. Got some. I'll try to get some of that feedback too. But everybody was like, hey, if you didn't know the passwords, Mike, I think they'd be all right without you. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure of that. Yeah, they'd be pretty happy. So we will continue to get the reader mail. I will say now, before we go to the final segment of Best Thing of the Week, next episode is going to be, believe it or not, according to my math, and it is questionable times. As far as I can tell and what we're going to roll with, though, next episode will be our 20th episode, which, when you look at this gang and consider what we do and where we are, that's freaking milestone. So I'm thinking the next episode is going to be our wild country discussion, where we have some special guests on. Finally get that the proper due. Hopefully get that scheduled out here pretty quick. But that's the plan, is the 20th. Say again?
We're going to do a backup movie?
Backup movie? We certainly could, if you have one in mind. I hope we get this all put together, but I think that's a smart move, Mr. Bradbury. I appreciate your faith in us, yet realism. So
I don't even know whose turn it is. I lost track.
Oh, I think we lost track of that one. We can reset. Yeah. But since you brought it up, if you want to float something out there, we'll certainly consider it as a group. And if not,
I have an urge to discuss with this group V is for Vendetta before election season.
Oh, interesting.
I've never seen that.
V is for Vendetta. I saw it a long time ago. Obviously not that long ago. It's not that old, but
it's pretty old. I think I don't know.
Is it in the 90s?
Yeah, 90s.
Had to be like 2003.
What the hell?
In the United States of America, V for Vendetta was released on March 17th, 2006.
Well, there we go.
Oh, shit, yeah. That was disturbing. Who answered that?
Well, my phone's plugged into my computer, and I asked the...
Apparently.
Yeah.
I nearly shite me trousers when I heard that voice come ripping through my headphones. I was like, sweet Lord, they are listening. Yeah. Yes. So the hope is Wild Wild Country. Backup movie is V for Vendetta. We've also got some other special guests lined out. I'll say his name. I'll just say that some of the Roundup Court directors have offered to come on the podcast as well for Pendleton Roundup. I think we could have some good times with that. I went to college with several of them, so we might have some crossovers between college stories and some of the recent decisions and thoughts made around the Pendleton Roundup and its suspension for this year. So, which reminds me again, folks, you can go attend the Lake County Roundup Labor Day weekend in Lakeview, Oregon. Tickets are on sale now. Tell them Brad Burr sent you. Offer code MRJR will get you absolutely nothing but our admiration. So, yes, we hope to have special guests next week. And backup movies, V is for Vendetta. So put that in your pipe and smoke it for the next time if we don't get everybody herded up, or after that. Yeah.
I want you to know how many people in my LinkedIn network are all about Wild Wild Country. And
outstanding.
Posted a little snippet from the show talking about it, and there are people that are watching it based on that. So generate a lot of interest. Joel, you that was pivotal pivotal observation there, Joel.
One of our
Stumbled into
finer
that
Mr.
one.
Joel moments. Yeah. Hey, doesn't matter how you get there. Like Pops is famous for saying, there's no diagram on a golf scorecard, Micah. Just the score. So, doesn't matter how you got there. It just matters that you did. So enjoy that. So, with that being said, we're almost to the point where we wrap this son of a bocce up and wander away, unless anybody have any wrapping up statements or pontifications or observations or something I'm just dying to get out right now. Joel, you're still stroking that beard like it's got the cure for cancer in it. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good. No, I don't have anything to add.
Well, guys, we'll get this. This will be up in all the usual places, all your podcast spots that you're subscribed to already. You probably get that notification when you're driving down the road. It says, ding, congratulations, your latest episode is up. Please make sure to share this episode and all other ones. You can go back to the archives and figure out how we got to where we're at today. And like, really? 19 episodes from these a-holes? That's a miracle unto itself. So we're on YouTube. We're on all the outlets for your podcast. So go there, check us out, share us with your friends, share us with your enemies, share us with your loved ones in the cherished times you might have in the future. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate your comments. Again, if you've got questions or comments, you can get us at farreachespodcast@gmail.com, or you can reach out to any of us on the many social media platforms, which seems to be the preferred method. You can leave comments on the YouTube channel, comments everywhere else too. So we do check those. Sometimes there's a couple week lag to get them on the show and thank you about them, but that's just because I'm a slacker. So we can't thank you enough for your listening and your questions. Like I think we need to reinforce that we do dating advice. So send it in and we'll pull that out. And guess what? If you don't like it, well, that's your fault for touching us to begin with. So until next time, we can't thank you enough for being part of the Reacher group, Far Reaches Podcast. For all of us Reachers here, we say thanks a lot, and we will see you soon. Thank you much.